Hello, wonderful parents and pupils. How are you today? My name is Teacher Emem. Our subject for this morning is agricultural science, and our topic is on pest. P-E-S-T, pest. Now, before we go into our lessons fully, we would like to know the meaning of pest. A pest is any animal or insect which causes damage to crops or livestock. A pest is any animal or insect which causes damage to crops or livestock. Now, we have common examples of pests. First, we have insect pests. Insect pests. And under these insect pests, we have some examples such as weevils, stem borers, grasshoppers, locusts, beetles, cotton stainers, etc. We said under examples of insects that causes damage to our crops and livestock, we have weevils, stem borers, grasshoppers, locusts, beetles, cotton stainers, etc. I'd like to take our mind back to food items or food crops we have at home. For example, you have your beans at home. Most times you discover that when you want to pick your beans, you see tiny insects. Yes, that is beans weevil. And when you look at the body of the beans, you will see that it has caused damage to the body of that beans. You see holes. Yes, it's causing damage. That's beans weevil. That's a pest. So sometimes when our crops are on the farm, insects destroys them while they are still there. So that is an example of insect pest. The next one, we have birds. Birds. If you have a farm around you, sometimes you see birds go in there to try and pick on some crops that have been planted there. And by doing that, they destroy the crops. Examples of birds pests are weaver bird, bushfowls, and doves. We said examples of bird pests are weaver birds, bushfowls, and doves. We also have rodents. Examples of rodents that destroy our crops are squirrels, rats, grass cutters, and rabbits. We have squirrels, rats, grass cutters, and rabbits. And sometimes when you go to your farm, you see squirrels or rats, grass cutters, trying to dig out some of the crops that have been planted to eat, and thereby destroying the crops. We also have bats. Bats and primates. What I mean by primates, examples of primates, monkeys. Yes, there's some farms you go into and you see monkeys jumping from one plant to the other, trying to pick food from the crops planted. And by doing that, they destroy most of the crops planted. Bats. Bats majorly feed on blood. And if you have livestock such as your cattle, sometimes you see these bats perch on them and try to suck from them. And in so doing, they might pass one disease or the other to these livestock animals. And then, if care is not taken, the animals might die. So we have these different pests that causes damage to our crops and livestock. In our next lesson, we will be discussing the effects of pests on crop yield, meaning how the effects of this crop and how they affect our crop yield. We will also be discussing on how to control pests on our farm. Okay. Earlier on, we had talked about the meaning of pest. We said the pest is any animal or insect which causes damage to our crops or livestock. And we also gave some common examples of pests. We mentioned insects, and under insects we had weevils, stem borers, grasshoppers, locusts, beetles, cotton stainers, etc. We have birds, rodents, bats, and primates. We've also given examples of these common pests. Please feel free to send in your questions and I'll be here to answer them. Your assignment will be sent to you shortly after this lesson. And remember, keep safe, wash your hands regularly, and avoid